Hello guys! In this lesson, we will learn about grammatical voices in English. There are two types, active and passive. In grammar, the voice is a term used to describe whether a verb is active or passive. The active voice focuses on what the subject does. The passive voice tells us what is done to the object. In this first example, we see that the subject is at the beginning of the sentence. Sally reads a book. This is a sentence written in an active voice. In this second example, a book is being read by Sally. We see that the object, which is the book, and is being read by the subject, who is Sally. This is a sentence written in a passive voice. Here's an example of the active voice.
Dick is testing me.
Dick is testing me. The focus is on the subject, that is Dick. If we want to switch to passive voice, we have to focus on the verb, on what is happening. I am being tested by Dick. On the other hand, we can also find the passive voice.
Body extracted from Nora's blood.
In this example, we extracted from Nora's blood. We see that they focus on the procedure, rather than on the subject from whom the DNA was extracted. If we want to switch to active voice, it's Nora's blood was extracted by us. We can find the active voice mostly in these documents, in opinion pieces and governmental documents. For example, people have the right to education, health, and social security. Mexico is the 7th country with the greatest linguistic diversity in the world. Here, Mexico is the subject. In the first example, people is the subject. Here are some examples of the use of passive voice to emphasize the action. In scientific papers, we can find this type of sentences. A collector tube was used to store the DNA by 3 days until experimentation. It's essential to describe in detail the procedures the scientist performs, so that the work can be reproduced by others interested. That is why it is preferable to write in passive voice. Also, in the news, we can find the passive voice, where they focus on what happened rather than who happened. For example, cash was stolen from Kelly's store in Elm Street. Cash is the object and Kelly's store is the subject, and we focus more in the object, what happened to the object. And how can you identify voices? Look for the position of the subject and the object within the sentence. Mostly in active voice, the subject is positioned first. Passive voice always has a conjugated form of to be and a past participle of the main verb. Here we have some examples of verbs and the past participle of them. To speak is spoken, to write is written, to listen is listened, to learn is learned, to take is taken. And in passive voice, we will always find the past participle. Here is another example on how can we switch from active voice to passive voice. For example, this sentence: the teacher teaches to the students. The subject is the teacher, the verb is teaches to, and the object is the students. If we want to switch to passive voice, we have to modify the structure and put first the object. Here, the students are being taught by the teacher. Here we have the conjugated form of the verb teach. And this is the classwork I prepared for you. And goes like this. Write down the active or passive voice of each sentence. Here we have the first sentence that is written in passive. The check was paid by Arthur. And the active voice has to be like Arthur paid the check. The other examples are here, and Christy bought a computer the last weekend. In passive voice, it has to be a computer was bought by Christy the last weekend. These are some books I looked for information to do this video. I recommend to you this Just Enough English Grammar. And here is something to think about. When you speak or write, do you focus more on the subject or the object? Well, that's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, any comments, please comment below. I'm here to help. Thanks.